If you want to start a coaching business while working full-time, then this video is for you. And make sure to stay until the end so you understand the full 6-step process that my clients are using to transition from their full-time job to become a full-time coach. So let's dive right in. Step number 1 is to define your purpose and ignite your motivation. This is critical because it's going to take a significant amount of focus and sacrifice to build a coaching business when you're working full time. Let's just be honest and call a spade a spade. When you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week in your 9 to 5, then the only time to work on your business is late in the evenings, early in the morning, or on the weekends. And if you're not motivated, if this isn't your purpose, if you don't feel passion for who you're helping and what you're doing, you're simply not going to do the work. So take some time before you start this path to really clarify who are you doing this for and why are you doing it. There's going to be aspects of this business that you don't love, but they need to get done. There's certain aspects of my business that I don't love doing, but I do it because who I'm doing it for, and I'm connected to my purpose. So that's step number 1, is make sure that you have the level of commitment that you need and the drive and the motivation to do the work required. Now, once you have that, let's move on to the second step. The second step is to package a premium coaching offer. And when I say premium, what I mean is charging somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000. Yes, if you're starting out, you can go ahead and go down to $3,000, but you don't want to go any lower than that, because if you're working full time, let's say that you're making 6 figures in your corporate business or in your job, then you've got to replace that income if you're going to transition. You're not going to go from, making 150 grand a year to making 15 grand a year. You got to replace that income to make that transition smooth, especially if you've got a family that you're providing for, kids, stuff like that. So because of that, the fastest way to get there is not by charging $100 an hour, it's by charging a premium price. And you've got to make sure that you're solving a premium problem to charge a premium price. So instead of just picking a number out of thin air and say, I'm going to charge $20,000 or $10,000, then get really clear on what would somebody pay a lot of money for to solve that problem. That's how you come up with your premium price. And I've got other videos which I'll reference towards the end on how to actually come up with your exact dollar amounts of what you could charge. In fact, one of my students, Zane, was an orthodontist, and he started a super successful orthodontist practice years ago and transitioned into consulting orthodontists. And so he came up with a $15,000 offer out of the gate, and literally in the first 4 months of launching his business, he generated $104,000. So just know that you can get to your income goals very quickly when you have credibility, you have experience, and you are committed to serving people. The third step is to leverage your relationship capital. Now, yes, you can build funnels. Yes, you can run ads. Yes, you can create social media content. And for you to have a really big coaching business that creates a lot of freedom and impact in your life, then yes, those things are important to do. However, do you start there? No. I made the mistake early on when I was coaching coaches on telling them to do that stuff first. Is you've got to have this webinar, you've got to have this funnel and this email system. And again, you will need to have those things. However, when you're starting, you just want to leverage the people who know, like, and trust you, the relationship capital that you've built over the years, because that's honestly where your first handful of clients are going to come from. One of my students, Neil, who's a business consultant from Australia, he was ignoring his own inner circle, and we taught him how to do connection calls and market research calls. And literally within the first 30 days, he generated $100,000 in coaching income. Now, that's a big promise. He already was successful as a consultant. He had about a $500,000 a year consulting business. But when you do that, you can get results really quickly. So make sure not to neglect that and make sure to actually leverage your relationship capital. Step number 4 to starting a coaching business while working full time is to choose a niche that has a lot at stake. And here's what I mean by that. Number 1, you got to make sure that you're solving a problem that's painful enough that people are willing to pay high ticket for. So that's step 1, is charging premium prices. But step 2 is making sure there's a lot at stake. So here's an example. You could be a marriage coach for couples, which is great. People pay money for that. Or you could be a marriage coach for couples who are in the public eye. And those couples that are in the public eye may feel like they have more at stake if their relationship ends in separation or divorce, right? Because they are in the public eye. So that's really an important distinction to make. Just that one tweak, it's still couples who are married, but it's those that are private and those that are in the public eye. You may be able to charge a lot more for those in the public eye. So think about that as you start thinking about your niche and the problem that you solve. And if you are unclear on your niche, then make sure to check out my video up here, which reveals the 3 most profitable niches for coaches. You can just click up there, give that a watch, and it'll be super valuable. There's 2 more steps to starting a coaching business while working full time. The 5th step is to focus on one-to-many versus one-to-one. Now, it's okay to start out of the gate with a couple one-on-one clients, but because time is the biggest constraint for you, you want to leverage your time. And so you will hit a ceiling very quickly. If you're working 50 hours a week and you only have time to work on your business 5 hours a week, then the maximum amount of one-on-one clients you could take is probably 5 clients, right? That's not going to replace your full income. So we've got to leverage your time through group coaching. And there's an art and a science to building that. But I want you to think about that is once you've worked with a handful of one-on-one clients, then you want to think about what's your proven process? What's your step-by-step curriculum that you can start taking your clients through? And how can you start packaging your knowledge into video training modules and a group call once a week so that you can go from coaching 1 client at a time to coaching 10 or 20 clients at a time? The 6th and final step is to license your intellectual property. That's what I call anything that you create in terms of content for your clients. So if you do take what you would normally do in a coaching call and put it into a training video, then that's your IP, that's your intellectual property. Not only could your clients pay you individually for that content, but companies could pay you. In fact, an example of this is that I partnered with an NLP certification company this year, and they are incredible at certifying coaches. They're, I think, the best coach certification program on the planet when it comes to becoming a great coach. But the hole in their process was they weren't teaching the coaches how to succeed in business. They weren't teaching them the marketing or the sales or the systems that they needed to learn. That's what we at Fearless Coach Academy are best in the world at. So we partnered together. They certified the coaches, and then I came in and I trained their students on marketing, sales, lead generation, client acquisition, all of those things. The cool thing too is they licensed my IP. They paid me a lot of money to share my content, which I had already created years ago for their students. And that is an incredible income stream. So if you really want to fast track your placement of corporate income from your job into coaching, and do this while you're working full time, licensing your IP is one of the best steps that you could take. So those are the 6 steps to starting a coaching business while working full time. If you want to know how to structure your group coaching program, which is what I alluded to earlier, so that you can leverage your time beyond one-on-one coaching, then just comment group below and my team will send you and paste a link to a YouTube video where I go into details about how to structure that. And before I wrap up this video, I have a quick favor to ask. I recently found that only about 27% of the people watching my videos are subscribed to my channel, which is way too low. So if you've got value from this video, please click subscribe right now so you never miss a future video. And once you've subscribed, make sure to check out my next video up here, which is how to make time to start a coaching business. If time is your constraint, click this video up here, give it a watch, and I'll see you in the next video. My name is Peter Scott, reminding you to be here, act now, and fear less.